Hello YouTube, this is Super Dave. Today we're going to be looking at a fairly new product release. It's definitely new to me. This is the Mezco 1/12 scale Gambit action figure. This is my first Mezco figure. I've tried to avoid these for a long time for various reasons, which largely irrelevant. I was very interested in them early on, especially some of the Star Trek in particular releases and the Dread. But a lot of things I saw and read, I didn't feel like it was worth the price point. At this point in my collection, I am interested in collecting very particular figures, namely my favorite figures. So I'm going to give them a try here with Gambit. There's not a whole lot of Gambits on the market, really. There are a couple others. There's the Revoltech, and I understand there's going to be a Mafex Gambit figure in the 6-inch ballpark. And then, of course, the Marvel Legends, which I have both the old Toy Biz and the newer Hasbro versions, and I've even got the brand new retro one on the way. That being said, I felt like I was willing to take the dive on these Mezco figures in order to have an additional Gambit. And that's to say, I won't be chasing this line. Definitely not going to be a completionist or anything like this. If it's a figure that I really love, a character, I should say, that I really love, I'll probably go after one of them. But let's get it out here and see what's going on. Take off the plastic, toss that aside. Looks like there's a protective plastic film over the just the front here, I guess. Or is that underneath? It's underneath. All right. Well, there is some plastic over the sleeve. That's interesting. And I don't know if that's showing up. If you can see it bunching up there, but there's a very fine plastic protection over the outer sleeve. It's very interesting. So on the front, we've got the character, the X-Men logo, Marvel logo, and the 1/12, I guess, line of toys. I guess in the past, Mezco has done some other lines. I don't know if they're doing anything else now. On the sides, again, we got the 1/12 line, the Gambit logo, which is pretty cool. And again, Mezco. And on the back, we get to see what we've got inside, which is pretty cool. Some action photos there, or I guess not action photos, but very artistic shots of the figure. Shows what accessories he's got in there, the figure, and then the stand and extra hands. Very cool. So let's get him out and see what this is all about. It's just a sleeve. It slides right up or down, either way. And I guess I'm going to have to get two hands on it. There we go. So there's that second plastic sleeve over the window inside, which that's interesting. Wow. Cool window design. Just a plain black box. Some blacked out but glossy logo. What is that on the back? Oh, that's that. What's his name? The Roach guy. I don't remember. I've seen people making a big deal out of it. I don't get it. If you do, awesome. That's not my thing. And that's pretty much it. Is that their logo? This Roach guy? I've read about it. It wasn't something I committed to memory. Anyway, let's open them up. It's just we're going to open them from the top. Just pull this carefully, because I do like my packaging. It's very handy whenever I move. So it looks like we got some plastic inserts. I'm going to turn them over so he's right side or front side up. Slide that out. What do we have here? Just the warning sheet. Just for adult collector, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to toss that. Well, I'm going to toss that aside so that when I put it back in, it doesn't get all crumpled up. So inside, you can see we've got 3 pieces. There's an underpiece, this black tray, and then the what keeps it all inside. So we're going to lift that. Well, let's look at them here real quick, a little bit closer. So we've got a second head sculpt. That's nice. Obviously, there's the main figure. Looks like we have some card accessories here. His staff, a hand with a card throwing action, I guess. Some non-charged cards, which that's awesome. Another very dynamic accessory. 3 cards being thrown. Also has a hand on it. I don't know if you can see that. We'll get it out and look at it, but there's a hand there. And then 5 more hands. Plus, wow, he's got a lot of hands. Anyway, so there's the figure, and you can see the stand in the background. There we go. Let's get him out. Let's lift up this tray. What should we do first? Let's go with the figure. So even within this tray, he comes in his own plastic, captured in his own plastic tray within the tray, which that's nice. Help keep him in good shape. And I'll put that aside. Got a little string here, which I'm going to have to deal with that. That's unfortunate. A couple of those strings there. Plastic around the head sculpt, that's always a welcome. We want to protect those head sculpts. Looks good. Let's see if I can make a little adjustment here. It's not too washed out. Well, it looks great. Some of the things I'd seen in videos and photos, the skin tones, just they looked bad, and that was one of the big things that kept me away for a long time. Was I think they were just not lit very well, so they looked almost translucent. I don't know how else to describe. I was just not impressed. Anyway, that looks fantastic. Let's get the plastic off. This is plastic just between the coat and his legs. Wow, what a great looking figure. Very shiny. It is a fabric pleather coat with a liner, which you don't see that very often. Well, I guess I can't say that on the 1/12. Oh, another piece of plastic in the back. There we go. They're all just flat pieces of plastic, either wrapped or tucked. So, not like, you know, as you've seen, I'm a 6 scale collector, and sometimes that stuff is wrapped, and it's a one piece wrapped around heads and feet and stuff. Anyway, really phenomenal. Just the lighting back so we can get some details on these pants, which look like a nylon or spandexy type with these rubber or vinyl or otherwise printed overlays, which look phenomenal. Okay, before we start playing with them, let's get everything else out of the box. I'm going to go for the stand next. Pull that right out. It has a plastic cover on it. So I'm just going to toss that right back in. And you'll see, as I understand, there's a peg here which will correspond to his feet. And I'm going to go ahead and put him right on that right now so he doesn't fall over while I'm doing all this. Starting with the head, second head sculpt, rather. This is a pleasant surprise. I didn't realize he was going to come with a second head sculpt, which softens the price tag on this. So, looks like the same hair, just a little bit more of a smirk, I guess, and we'll compare the two here in a minute once I finish getting everything else out. Moving just down the right side, I'll pop the playing cards out. Those are phenomenal. The detailing is amazing. There's a little indentation that's keeping this encased. I'm just trying to be, I guess, delicate or deliberate about it. Oh, dropped one. These are tiny, and you definitely want something to put these in so that you don't lose them. Extremely thin, but amazing, just incredible detail. Alright, we're going to put that over here with the rest of the stuff, and I'm going to put this back in the package, in the tray. Now, let's fish these hands out. And we'll go over them. I'm just going to put them to the side right now to get them out of the tray so that as I get the rest of the stuff out of the tray, they're not falling all over the place. Gel pack, nothing else over here. We've got the massive energy thing, or kinetic card with a hand. That's cool looking, very translucent, very pretty. Lots of contours and very cool. Set that aside. Here's another hand with a single card being thrown. Very nice. And what else have we got? A staff. It's rigid plastic, not like the Marvel Legends, which is a very soft plastic. This is rigid, so I imagine you can snap it if you're not careful. Another charged card without a hand. A nice pink color, hot pink, whatever. Whoops, there goes that one. That's what I was trying to avoid. So that's the extent of the main tray. Here's that. So got it upside down. So it's like a hand, 5 or 7 cards, I guess. Probably 5 that are all charged up that he could hold. So again, that hot pink, very cool translucent colors. So we're going to get the bottom tray out now. And we've got our armature. So it's got a lid on it. So very nice packaging here. Pretty great. I'm going to go ahead and get this out just in case I want to pose him with this thing. I don't think I will. But it's nice to have on hand if I decide to do some photo shoots. I can just I don't have to get the whole package out just to set up his flight stand or armature or whatever. So we got that, and then we've got the bag for all those tiny little pieces that you don't want to lose. And you can, write the character on there if you can't tell just by looking at it or whatever the case is. I don't think I'll be doing that. I've never had a problem keeping my accessories associated with their respective figures. So I'm going to put all this back together real fast and get it out of the way. And then we will take a look at Gambit and all his accessories. Whoops, forgot the dang warning. That's alright. Actually, I'm going to slide it in there real quick. Sorry, guys. There we go. Gomez, that's his name. Right? Gomez the Roach. I don't know why I just remembered. But put this plastic protector back on. And let's see if I can slide this sleeve on without... See, it's lost all its static cling, so it doesn't want to... I don't know if that's going to work. Anyway, just have to deal with that later. We'll just put that right back there for right now. So, let's take a look at our head sculpts. I'm going to take him off of his stand. And we'll look at... So it's identical except for the facial expression. The hair's the same. The only thing different is this one's kind of a more stoic, neutral, and this one's definitely got a little bit more of a smirk on him. So, very cool. I have never swapped. Obviously, this is my first Mezco. I've never even touched one before. So you're probably noticing I'm being very gentle and delicate because I don't know what the limits on these things are. I'm pretty comfortable with a 6 scale figure. Having messed with so many of those, I pretty much know the limits and what almost any 6 scale body can do or not. These things, on the other hand, being a mix of, a plastic body, and then you've got this hard plastic armor, but then also fabric, which, that's the cool thing about these is the multimedia and the mix of, as your Marvel Legends are primarily solely plastic, and 6 scale figures are primarily, obviously a plastic body, but then fabric, everything else, and a little bit of plastic. But you've got this vinyl print and everything else on the clothes. I don't want to stretch that too far. So I'm being very careful. And then we've got this pleather jacket, which looks phenomenal. It's got the belt, which I don't know if it's functional. I think it is sewn right here where it folds over, which is fine. You don't need to go tying his belt. There is a wire on each side, so you can get some... I'm not real big into the wire thing. I've seen people do some incredibly cool looking things with wire fabrics, wired fabrics, I should say, capes and whatnot. It's not my thing. I don't know. They end up poking through, and I don't know. To me, it's more trouble than it's worth, but it's certainly not anything to pass up a figure over. If you don't like it that much, you can pull that thing right out, get rid of it. But I'm not going to be doing that. Anyway, so my big thing with 6 scale figures is the elbow articulation. And recently I've had some figures that they don't want to go past 90 degrees, or you might get a little bit past 90, but that's about all you're getting out of them, and that drives me nuts. That is my one biggest complaint about figures is elbow articulation. Now this is pretty good. I would imagine there's a lot of hindrance right here with the fabric, and I have no idea. I guess underneath is probably more of this same thing, it looks like, which was also going to hinder. But then also it's a plastic body underneath, so I understand that even a double hinged elbow joint on a plastic figure is going to have its limits, with rare exceptions, and usually those joints aren't very pretty. Having said that, though, when your joint's going to be hidden not only by a coat but an undersuit, you can kind of get crazy in aesthetics. You're not going to see how ugly it is or not. So far, looks like just head up and down. Looks like there might be a little bit of movement in the neck. Yeah, there is. Okay, it's just a little tight right out of the box. So that's cool. What else? As far as shoulders, I'm sure there's the normal range of articulation. Try not to stress the coat very much and go slow. Don't need it splitting or anything like that right out of the box before I've had a chance to do anything with them. In fact, let's go see if we can take the coat off and see what's underneath. So I'm going to very, very delicately, because I've never done this before, pop these hands off, and that's not terribly difficult at all, which is nice. They're firm. They're on there. I'm not going to worry about them falling off, but they're sometimes, especially with 6 scale figures, you end up, it's real easy to break those pegs because the hands can be so stuck on there. It doesn't feel like that's the case, at least with this particular figure. So while we've got this off, he's not going to stand there. Take a look at the coat. Again, it's kind of a lighter brown. Pleather. It's got the little straps on the wrists. Nice suede-ish, faux suede. Oh, there's a wire in the collar as well. That's nice. But just for a different texture, different material, and then, like I said, we've got this nice liner, which I don't see a whole lot of toy soft goods that actually have a liner in them. So that's pretty awesome. Very impressed. Very nice looking coat, very Gambit-esque. For whatever reason, we do have these loose threads. Those are the only ones I've noticed. There's one inside, which is not terribly big deal, but gonna have to deal with those. Not a deal breaker though, by any means. I thought that might stand up, but it ain't gonna. So underneath, so we got some more fibers, probably from the coat. They look like little tiny plastic fibers. But very impressed by this intricacy of this armor. I love the color and the sheen to it. It's really great. Looks really cool on Gambit. And that's the thing, you know, seeing him in a comic book, or if you watched the animated series, you wonder how this is going to translate into real life. And of course, we've seen it on the Marvel Legends, but you know, this version is something very cool too. It looks modular, which it's obviously not on the figure, but it looks like if somebody were to wear something like this, all these are all joints or something that would allow him to flex and articulate and crunch, whatever. But so a little bit of forward and back movement, up and down. Again, you can see how we're starting to stress the fabric. I don't want to tear it. But if you're careful and slow and deliberate, you can certainly get some pretty good movement out of them. Pretty good wide range of very good. So you're not going to want to, like, certainly not play with him and do any kind of rapid movements, but careful and deliberate movements will get him into any pose you want, I imagine, without really having to worry about popping some seams or anything like that. So very nice. Very impressed. Obviously, with this armor, it is solid. It's one piece from the neck down to the belt. So there is no crunch going on whatsoever. And there's even very limited waist rotation. So be real careful with that. I don't know what's going on underneath here. So I wouldn't want to kind of push this too far. You end up maybe scraping up the inside suit or something like that. I would be real careful about that. So we can see on the hips, that's about what you're going to get, which, again, that's okay. I'm less concerned about the hips than I am the elbows, and that is some impressive elbow articulation for the scale, and then the fact that it's got a fabric suit over it. I wouldn't expect it to do much more than that. So I'm satisfied with this right here. The knee, that looks good. In fact, that's pretty good right there. It rotates. Make sure you see that. Not a whole lot of up and down, I guess, forward and back. Side, yeah, rotates side to side. There's a little, not too terribly much. And then forward and back, and not a whole lot either, because obviously we can see his shin guard or leg armor or whatever is going to prevent anything further than that. And then that's about as far down as we're going to get as well, without me really putting some pressure on it. And I don't want to mess up the paint, and I don't want to break it. So overall, very impressed. See about some different hands here. So he's got some cuffs, and I haven't tried to take those off or to see if they're, I think they're probably on there, which keeps the fabric in place. So how about we go over his hands. So we've seen the second head sculpt with the smirk. Come on, there we go. Kind of a smirk. It's a very subtle smirk. So these are the two hands he comes equipped with. Fists. And we have a gripping hand, left and right. And those are not attached. Sorry, those are not attached. So there should be some separate movement. These are probably perfect for the bow staff. Again, careful. You don't want to snap this. It's not as soft as the Marvel Legends, which I actually have right here, which this one's a lot more stiff, and it would probably snap rather than bend like this one does. But I'm not going to put that to the test. Just the slightest difference in length or height, probably not even a 1/4 inch. There you go. Perfect hands for grasping the staff. this back. We can see everything. What else have we got? These open hands, which comic characters are so fond of. They're either using their mutant ability to push something or to pull something or to levitate something. They're, just fun, dynamic hands to have. I like these open hands. And we have what I would guess is a gripping hand for, I use these because they're more colorful, as cards. And I'm going to be careful so I don't ruin any paint. I'm more worried about the cards than the hand, obviously, but that holds those cards. Very, very nice. That looks fantastic. That is a great little accessory. So I'm going to put this one aside. And then we have another left hand, which is him throwing the card. So it looks like it's got that two-finger throw that we see a lot, especially in the older comics. And I only say that because I haven't read a whole lot of the newer comics. And we've got these two accessories that he can hold in that same card hand. Maybe I don't think. Yeah, you could probably get those in between. Oh, that's wrong. So yeah, you can get those down in there. That's kind of cool looking. I don't think you could do it with the single, but that hand will wedge down in there between his forefinger or pointer and middle fingers. So, and last but not least, we have the real dynamic throwing 3 cards and the trail of kinetic energy left behind as he wields it around. So this is also a left hand, and this is more of a from top to bottom kind of throw based on the way this is the hand is positioned. I mean, I guess you could throw it out like that. So let's put this on and see what it looks like. First, we're going to put the coat back on, and then we'll put some of the hands back on. I'm not going to do a head swap right now. I'm going to leave the stoic kind of, whatever you want to call it, head sculpt on there. I kind of like it. And I don't know, maybe at some point when I decide to put him up on the shelf, I'll figure out how he's going to be displayed indefinitely. But for now, we're doing the stoic head sculpt. So not too terribly difficult getting this back on. Again, I'm trying to be very careful and mindful of not only the pleather, I don't want to overstress it, but so let's say Gambit's 2 weapons are his staff and his card. So we're going to pose him or set him up some way in which he has got both. So we'll take this hand, which I've already loaded the staff into, and pop it right on here. And that goes on nice and easy. Feels very firm. And we've got a nice nice grip on these staffs, so it's not sliding around. It's held in there very firmly, which is nice, very appreciated. And so let's look at this. So that's if we put the hand sideways, it's going to look like that. If we put it up and down, that would be a very dynamic. So it can kind of come from the bottom up. or, you know, I guess it can do a lot with this. So let's just put it on there. Let's see what we can come up with. Okay. I didn't feel a nice little pop when that one went on there like I did with the other hand, but that's okay. So it's kind of interesting. Because of this big trail, you know, the movement and momentum of the energy is very, I would say, singular. So you got to, I mean, if you want a nice dynamic pose that flows, you kind of got to keep that in mind. So you could do something like that where he's side-handing a bunch of cards, and that looks pretty good. I don't think I would go with the up and down, just because this curves in, and it's just, it doesn't feel very natural to me looking at it. And that is kind of an over, it just doesn't, I mean, his thumb is down here, so you're looking at that kind of thing. That doesn't feel right either. So I'm going to rotate this so that his palm is pretty much, it's about a 3/4. See, but the thing is, too, is the position of his arm at that point in the throw. I mean, yeah, he came from way over, but I kind of expect him to be a little bit further out. So it's kind of a, to me, almost, his body's almost going to be in a 3/4 or profile view to have reached that point of his throwing arc, which is fine. I mean, it's certainly something we can work with. And the balance toward the back with his staff. So here's something I'm probably use that flight stand for, is to get him up like that. I'm not sure I'm going to be using this hand for display. I like it, it's really cool, and I could probably do some cool stuff with some photography, but just to go on the shelf and stand there until I get them down to take pictures, which I don't put my figures on the shelf for the purposes of display. I put them on a shelf more in storage. So they don't need to be in these dynamic stands where they have a big footprint. They just need to be standing there so that I can get them down and then do this, snap some photos, and then put them back on the shelf. So that in mind, this will be fun to play with for photography, but and it would look great if you're displaying them. If your purpose is to display them, that's awesome. I love that, especially if you get that flight stand and get them off the ground. Let's see if I can. I don't want to try to do that one-handed. That's even cool. I mean, that works. But we're going to do something else. Pop that off. Oh, look at that. Huh. So you have a second open hand, which is not the same as the other open hand. Finger positions are slightly different, which I know it's black and it's not showing up terribly well, but mostly the ring and pinky finger are slightly different position. So, I wonder if you could flip that around. I'm gonna have to play with this a little bit, but probably not. Slide that back on there carefully. Well, I'm gonna have to do that later because I want to put probably just the gripping hand. This one's cool too. This one you get a lot more, I guess, options as far as movement goes. And what else? You got the staff. So if you wanted to put them in a two-handed, holding the staff in a two-handed stance, that would be kind of cool too. But we want to display his powers at least, right? So we're going to use the little card gripping hand. Felt that nice solid little pop there. So I'm going to give him the charged hand of cards. Slide that right in. Get it just right. And we know Gambit means business because he's got full hand charged and ready to go. I'm going to make some adjustments to the staff. Really don't like sliding it, but I guess we could, whoops. Let's go ahead and pop that off to see what that's like. So I'm going to very carefully lift up. Oh, that pops off nice and easy, unlike Marvel Legends or 6-scale figures or anything else. That's it's firm. It's not going to pop off on its own or by handling it, but it's got a nice easy movement to it. And we'll put him here on his stand. And there we have Mezco's 1/12 collective Gambit action figure. Very great figure. If you're a fan of Gambit, go out and get this. If you're not a Mezco collector like me, but you're a fan of the character, this is a must-have. I love this figure, and I can't wait to do some photography with him and see what I can come up with. He also just looks great on the shelf, and yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic figure, well worth the price point, which was always one of my sticking points of the Mezco line, was how much they cost for a 1/12 scale figure. I understand now it is a great figure, and I strongly recommend, if you're a fan of Gambit or you're an X-Men collector, or whatever the case is, this guy is well worth it, and you should get a hold of him now before he gets expensive. And here we can see the how he compares to the Marvel Legends line. I don't have the Yamaguchi or Revoltech, or I don't have any of the other Gambits. Obviously the old Toy Biz Marvel Legends and the newer Hasbro Marvel Legends, and then of course Mezco. So you can see just the difference in the torso armors, much more vibrant, and just looks a lot better. The collars are different. Just I don't have the. I'm getting the retro wave tomorrow. I think should be here. But in the head sculpts, look at the hair. You know, lots of people complained about the hair on this one, which it is kind of weird, just the way it's swept so drastically to the side. great hair here on the Mezco, and I always like the hair on the old Toy Biz. A lot of people said this one hair was too short on this one, which, yeah, Gambit had some long hair, but I think that looks good. That looks good. That one's pretty meh, and we'll see tomorrow what the retro wave looks like. The coats, fabric, plastic. Obviously, you can't beat a fabric coat. For the price point, this one's pretty rough looking. I understand there was some Toy Biz versions that had a pleather. I've seen pictures of those. I've seen them on eBay and stuff like that, and the pleather is just destroyed. This is what, at least a 20-year-old figure, maybe 17 years old, something in that ballpark. But I managed, without even knowing any better, that I managed to get a fabric coat, which obviously has held up over the years. Height difference. See, Mezco is certainly the tallest. Gambit was a tall dude. I think he was 6 and change in the comics, so you do want him to be to look like he's that tall. And a slim guy, so obviously all three of these are pretty slim. The belts, different each one. The pants, they've all got the some variation of the pink stripes on the side. At least I think they do. It's been a while since I've looked at Toy Biz. Yeah, he does. It's got that same metallic fuchsia or pink or whatever color you call that on the sides. And then the boots, the leg and knee armor, consistently a variation of metallic blue. And both of these very similar. I'm not going to get too close on that. I'm sorry, the light's not better. You can see a little bit better here. Very similar on these two. This guy's different. He's got a separate knee pad and then what's more like a boot, an armored boot or something to that effect, or armor, some kind of shin armor. Anyway, whatever you want to call it. But again, huge fan of Gambit. I don't know why. I couldn't really explain it. I remember having these conversations when I was a kid with my other comic book reading buddies, but I've always really enjoyed the character. Sometimes you love him, sometimes you hate him, but to me, he's always been a very engaging character, and I'm really happy to have these three in my collection. I love this guy. Again, if you're a Gambit fan, go out right now and get him. You won't be sorry. He looks great. I can't wait to do some more stuff with him. Looking forward to the retro Toy Biz, or I'm sorry, the retro Marvel Legends, Hasbro Marvel Legends Retro Wave Gambit, again, which should be here tomorrow. And I understand there is a Mafex. I don't think it's been released yet. I will be getting that one, and I'm on the fence about the Yamaguchi. I'm sometimes a fan of that style, sometimes I'm not. I think I will go ahead and get him. I've been looking at him for quite a while. I've just been reluctant to pull the trigger. But Gambit is one of those figures that I do want. I guess not every iteration, every classic iteration of him. And then this is what I would consider the classic look, with the color scheme and the brown coat and whatnot. So that being said, hopefully one day in the future, maybe I can do a showcase video of the varying 6-inch scale, or 6-inch size Gambit action figures. Until then, I appreciate you watching. And let me know if you want to see more of these different scales. I know I've never done anything other than the 1/6 or 12-inch scale figures as of yet. I do have some videos to upload. Every time I do one of these, there's a host of technological issues I've got to overcome, and those are incredibly time consuming. So I can't get these up as often as I want. But if you want to see more of figures, characters other than the 6th scale, the 12-inch, let me know. I'd be happy to start doing more of these. I'll definitely be doing a few here and there. but I don't want to overload my channel with, there's how many hundreds of Marvel Legends now, and I probably have a lot of the X-Men and related X characters, Deadpool, my favorites, my staples. I collect those, and then the teams. But certainly not going to do a video for every Marvel Legends I get. But a main character, I might go ahead and do some showcase videos to illustrate the differences in all the figures. And if you like my Mezco video, I think I will be purchasing Mezco in the future. And if you'd like to see those videos, let me know. I do have some more on the way. So thanks for watching. Comments, questions, concerns, let me know in the comments. If you'd like to see my photography, follow me on Instagram, and we'll see you around the web.